Previously on Balls.
It's 10 o'clock. In an hour's time, Gordon Iggesund will announce to the nation the fate of his Bafana squad, 28-strong squad for the 14th against Nigeria. Huge game. Whenever South Africa plays Nigeria in anything, it's a huge game. We always like to give Nigerians a good tonking. And it was yesterday afternoon when Roger de Sá expressed his kind of unease at the fact that playing the Orlando Pirates players in this friendly, 3 days before Orlando Pirates play Zamalek in the Champions League, is going to be a bit of a problem. So what we've had to do is we've had to call all kinds of people. We had the whole show set up around Gordon Iggesund's Bafana selection, Roger's lot, Orlando Pirates playing Amazulu tonight, and then all this broke yesterday. Where I'm very, very lucky and much appreciative of South African football as compared to the English football that I covered for years is that both Gordon Iggesund and Roger de Sá are good communicators. I spoke to Roger de Sá this morning, and Roger says, luckily, I've got a great working relationship with Gordon Iggesund, the Bafana manager, for the good of the game. And that's the catchphrase here, for the good of the game. Orlando Pirates will pull their 6 players, including Andile Jali. We've waited so long for the return of Andile Jali, but those 6 Buccaneers will be pulled out of the game against Nigeria. They were already scheduled to be pulled out of the game against Sierra Leone on Nelson Mandela Sports Day on the 17th, when our cricketers, our Proteas, our Springbok rugby players and our footballers will all be playing on the same day. We've had to pull the Pirates players out of the game before that against Nigeria. Gordon Iggesund and I have just spoken. Gordon about to go to the big press conference to just confirm all this and to put it all together. Gordon has just used exactly the same phrase. For the good of the game, Orlando Pirates will pull their 6 players out of the friendly against Nigeria. I am trying to raise Roger now. Comfort Keswa, probably the greatest producer, well, the greatest hair on any producer I've ever seen, is now just trying to get Roger up for me. I have spoken to Roger this morning and last night. What you have to understand, guys, is Roger de Sá has one of the most pressured jobs in football. It makes Arsene Wenger's job look easy. I've got Paul Mitchell, the CEO of Uma Sports, the guy that moved Sianda Kulu to FC Rostov, a man who deals with lots and lots of players. Have we got Roger there?
Yes, we do.
Roger?
Yes, you have.
I can't hear a thing. Roger? Why can't I get Roger?
Yes, sir.
Roger, I got you. Roger,
I'm here.
Roger de Sá. I've just spoken to Gordon, Roger, and Roger,
Yes.
Gordon used the phrase, for the good of the game, he will announce at 11 o'clock that Orlando Pirates players will be gently eased out of the squad to play against Nigeria. But Roger, you've also got Amazulu tonight. Let's just talk about Amazulu tonight. I heard you had an injury last night in training. Is that right?
No, I didn't have an injury last
okay.
night.
So you've got a full squad to choose from tonight.
No, Chimayelo had a knock against Al Ahly in Egypt. He's the only one that was a concern for us.
Okay, mate. So he's definitely out. We saw him limp off, didn't we, in that game, having scored a goal, and so he won't make
it's just
tonight.
a precaution.
Yeah, I need to tell you, Roger, I've been an Amazulu fan since I used to play for Bushbucks in Mlazi in the 80s. And so tonight,
that's your problem.
Tonight, for once, mate, I'll be shouting Usutu as I kick the television. Listen, Rog, how do you prepare for a game like Amazulu when you've just beaten Al Ahly in Egypt 3-0, when we've been absolutely going mad about this sensational, historic result against the African champions? You now play Amazulu, mid-table South African side. How do you prepare your players, Roger? How do you do that?
To be honest with you, my guys have been quite subtle about the whole thing. Even in the change room after the game against Al Ahly, it was all pretty calm, and that was for me it was a blessing really, because I didn't want them to go crazy about that one. And they were pretty calm. Just a few handshakes and taps on the back, and that was about it. They understood that it was just one game out of many, and that was good to see. It wasn't a surprise to them. So there was a little bit of a sense of, call it arrogance or confidence, or that's the way it should be, and they'll keep on going. So that was good to see, and hopefully they've kept their feet on the ground. And I think the only disturbing side was when we got home, and obviously everybody was celebrating a lot more than us.
Yeah.
But I think they're pretty calm, and I think we're ready for it.
Well, you seem to have spent the days since the Al Ahly game saying, well, we haven't actually achieved anything yet in the true football manager style when you have such a historic win. And all these, I could throw all these stats at you. I've been trying to check them because, sometimes in European football you get all the stats on a nice computer slip and in the internet sites. But with Al Ahly, as far as I can tell, they hadn't failed to score a goal at home since about 2002. They hadn't lost at home in a group game since 2004. They hadn't lost a home game since 2007, and you guys went there and did them 3-0. But surely the last 2 or 3 days, despite the fact you can't you can't celebrate too much because there's still another 4 games to go in the Champions League, has it been a pleasant easing of the tension or not?
It always is. I mean, let's be honest. I think if you win a game, even if you win by half a goal, it always takes that away a little bit. And it makes you feel like you're on the right path. But it's very short-lived. I promise you. You're as good as your last game, and everybody knows that. We've just got to focus on this one once again and get on with the job.
Then we need to come to the thorny issue of you get home, you find that 6 of your players have been picked for Bafana to play a friendly against Nigeria that everyone cares about beating Nigeria, but it is only a friendly. Gordon said to me not 5 minutes ago, because he can't speak to me after this because he's got his big press conference now. He said to me that he couldn't not pick the Pirates players because it's a FIFA weekend, because it would have been seen as an insult to Orlando Pirates if he hadn't picked your players, particularly Andile Jali, who's back to some kind of form with the lovely through ball to Sifiso Mieni that set up the third goal. He said that he had to pick your players, but as I understand it, Roger, you and Gordon have a very good working relationship. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. I think on Gordon's side, I think he's got to pick the best possible team every time. And then after that, he must deal with the issues concerned. I think that's what he's doing. He had to pick the best team, and I think he has done that. As far as, having heard that there were 6 of my players selected, I mean, I would like to have 20 of my players selected. It's not a problem for us at all. I think it's great. So, I think he dealt with it, I think, with some common sense and, obviously being football first. I think that's important, and I think that's what's been done here. It is a great occasion for Pirates and the whole nation. And obviously, I understand that the game against Nigeria is I wouldn't say of equal importance, but it's a massive preparation game for Gordon to try and qualify the team to the World Cup. So, you've got to take all those into consideration, and I think he's looking at the bigger picture, really, and I'm delighted with that. Yeah,
so you two came to an amicable agreement. What I liked about it is that, speaking to both you and Gordon, so often in England, when Sir Alex Ferguson was at loggerheads with the England coach, the Scotsman against the England coach, there would be terrible club versus country controversy, and people would drag it out, and Ryan Giggs wouldn't play for Wales, and Roy Keane wouldn't play for Ireland. But here we have a situation where the head coach of one of our top clubs, Orlando Pirates, in the African Champions League, trying desperately to do well for South Africa, is able to have an amicable conversation with Gordon Nickerson, the head of Bafana, trying to do well for South Africa, and the two of you have banged your heads together and come up, with a solution that will get us through, without any great problems before the crucial qualifier against Botswana. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think he wants to prepare the team as best he can, and I'm sure when he gets to the game against Botswana, I certainly hope that he picks the 6 again, or if not more.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't just rule them out, and I'm sure he won't. And if we continue on good form, it's good for him as well. Sometimes, these players having a good run in CAF Champions League might also be good for the nation. When he picks them, they come a lot more hardened and a lot more matured and experienced to play for the national team. So it all works together, really.
It does work together. I mean, going to Al Ahly and winning is vital for any player, especially in front of an empty stadium, driving coastal winds, 30, 40-degree heat. That's got to prepare you well to play international football as well, hasn't it?
I promise you, the 30 had nothing to do with it. It was all in the 40s. I promise you.
Was it in the 40s, was it?
The wind was this hot air that came out of a heater somewhere. And it was actually unbearable. I just watched the game this morning on television, and can't believe how much the players ran. It was good to see that they kept the energy levels pretty high.
Mate, I was just staggered by the whole thing. to watch you guys on Sunday, and I was kicking the cat, throwing the dog around. The kids ran out the house because I was shouting every time one went in. It was amongst the given the lack of atmosphere because of the fans. We'd watched Wits plugging away. Gavin Hunt and his thousands of players only getting a 0-0 draw with Wits. We should talk about that with Gavin. And then we see you guys putting in 3. It was one of the most staggering scenarios that I could have imagined. And congratulations for that, Roger. And congratulations too on coming up with, making a compromise with Gordon, getting this thing sorted out, and for saying that, when it comes to Botswana, you and Gordon will be working together on the big World Cup qualifier, and that we don't need to make the Sir Alex Ferguson mountain out of this molehill. That's how I see it.
No, absolutely. I think all credit to Gordon. I think he had, like I said, common sense. He's a football man, and he understands, I think, the magnitude of the game, and it's up to him.
Good stuff, mate. Listen, I'd love to wish you luck tonight, and I do really, but I will have half my heart will be at least with Amazulu. But have a good one tonight. It's going to be very, very difficult to get your players up, and get your domestic things sorted out because you're doing great in the Champions League. Well done, Roger.
Thanks. I appreciate your honesty about that one, and we're definitely going to have a go. Thank you.
Great stuff, Roger. We'll speak again. Good luck, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant, guys. I don't know how to explain this. When you sit in England and you try and get hold of these people, it's impossible to get hold of Arsene Wenger, Sir Alex Ferguson. At least half of my phone calls with Sir Alex Ferguson would consist of 2 words, and the first one began with F. And you speak to Roger Desai, you speak to Clinton Larson yesterday after his tirade against referees. South African football coaches are accessible, they're good guys, and I know that Roger and Gordon have banged their heads together to get this one sorted out. I know Pirates won't be playing against Nigeria. Comfort, Orlando Pirates fan, mate, give us one sentence, please. Would you pull the Pirates players out of this game in preference for the African Champions League, or would you leave the Bafana players in this friendly against Nigeria? Putting you on the line.
Look, it's a difficult one. Obviously, it's club versus nation. But either way, it's not like Pirates is playing domestic league. They're representing the nation in the African Cup of Nations. I think it's justifiable.
Guys, that's Comfort, right? Comfort K on Twitter. Why everyone isn't following this guy? He talks sense to me all the time about football. And that's the point. Let's end this segment just by saying that both Orlando Pirates against Zamalek, the second Egyptian Giants, and of course, Bafana against Nigeria, Steve Keshi's African champions. They're both representing the nation. In this instance, the decision has been taken to pull the Pirates players, the 6 of them, including Andy Lajali, out of the Bafana squad. It's time to sit back and say what the 2 coaches said to me this morning, both Roger and Gordon, for the good of the nation. Let's do this and let's move on. Hopefully, Bafana without the Pirates will beat Nigeria and then Sierra Leone. Pirates will beat Zamalek. We'll get, and then we'll put Botswana out the way, and Ethiopia will lose or draw in Car, and then everyone will be happy ever after.
Happy days.
Let's not make it a Sir Alex Ferguson against, Gordon Taylor situation like we had so often in Britain. Let's not carry on this club versus country debate any further than it needs to go. These 2 men have a good working relationship, Gordon Niggerson and Roger Desai. That's the attitude I'd like to take. We're going to get it.
This is Bulls Visual Radio.